right, back, and today we are going to do a pretty simple song, but it gets requested a lot. And it is Waiting in the Velvet Sea by Phish. I'm recording in my basement, and it is exceptionally noisy down here this evening for some reason. I got the dryer running and the furnace is running, so I apologize if it's a little noisy, but really shouldn't take away from the point of what we're doing tonight. So, anyways, this tune is in G major, and it's got a very simple chord progression that goes almost all the way through. There's a small bridge or a B section that we'll talk about. But the gist of it is this G major, and then it's a D major chord, an E minor, and a C, D major, back to G, and that's it. And really, the trick to playing this song well is just knowing how to dress these chords up so they're really nice. So the G major, you can do kind of any way you want. It's a G, a B, D, another G. You can invert it how you want. The second sounds really nice in there, the A. But you probably want to save that for when you're building it up. And then I find this D major, which is D, F sharp, and A, sounds really nice if coming out of the G, you go down to the F sharp and then take the bass note to G. Not every time, but you can use that for effect a lot, especially if you're doing like a solo piano intro to this one, like this. So, anyways, you got your G, G, B, D, D major, D, F sharp, A, E minor, which is E, G, and B, C major, C, E, G, and then D, F sharp, and A. And that's the whole chord progression under almost all of the song. So let's talk about dressing that up a little bit. So you have your G, B, D. You can invert it up if you want, you know. And that's just using our different inversions and maybe arpeggiating it a little bit, which is a good bass line, so that at least you're not just like pounding the chord, because that gets old fast. So you don't want to be doing that. You got your chords, and so I was inverting them, which means, you know, just taking the G, B, and the D and putting them in different orders and rolling them up the keyboard. I was also arpeggiating them a little bit, which is playing one note at a time, which is using the chord tones and just going up and down, which is great practice for keeping rhythm while you're keeping the chord change going. So you want to make sure your left hand is always moving with the chords, even if your right hand is arpeggiating. So we've got, you can invert them up and down, you can arpeggiate them. There's more you can do though there, because the backbone of this thing, it's just a G major scale. And so when you're playing this G major chord, instead of just using the chord tones, you can also use notes out of that G major scale. So you can use those to fill in even more of that space, and use your ear as the guide on this. You can overdo it for sure, but it's something that's really fun to play around with. So you have the chords as they're passing through, and if you notice, all of the chords are built out of that G major scale. So they're all using those same scale tones, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. sharp, G. So G, B, D, D, there's your F sharp and A, E, G, B, C, E, G, and then the D again. So it's all built out of the scale tones, which is why that G major scale works great there. I have in the past told you to use the relative minor, which in this case would be E major or E minor when you're doing taking solos over like a major sounding chord progression. Which works here, but I don't love it. It gets a little sort of honky-tonk sounding for this progression. So I would stick probably closer to that G major scale shape and sticking to the chord shapes with the arpeggios and filling in a little bit. That A is a great note to throw in all over this song. And let your ears be your guide. You know, that's your best way to come at this stuff, is using your ear, make mistakes, mess around with stuff, and you'll find by hitting things that you think are wrong or that may not sound right, but with a little tweaking can really get there. That's how you make progress as a player. So give yourself permission to do that. Just mess around. All right, so we've gotten through, that's under all of, the introduction. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. And it's under the first verse. Took a moment from my day and wrapped it up in things you say and mailed it off to your address. You'll get it pretty soon unless, that idea. And then you get up to the point where it turns around a little bit. And mailed it off to you. At which point it goes to B minor, which is B, D, F sharp. Again, we're using the G major scale tones. And C major. You can make it a B minor 7, adding the A in there. It totally works. That goes up to D. You won't find moments in a box. A minor. Someone else will set your clock. C. Took a moment. And that goes up to D. From my day. So, and then you're back into the G, D, E minor, and C progression. And that's really all there is to this song. So we'll play along with the track. I picked the one from Coventry in 2004. No, I'm just kidding. I have the one from Hampton Comes Alive, which is a favorite of mine. That was probably the one I played along to the most in high school when I was really getting into the band. So we're going to play along with that. It has a pretty long guitar solo, so we'll talk about sort of dressing up the piano part under the guitar. You really don't have to do anything crazy with this, but there's some nice little chances you get to add some flourishes here and there and some extra stuff. So we will play through the track and talk through it as we play through it, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, so we're back, and we're ready to play through with our G major, Waiting in the Velvet Sea. So Paige is really keeping it mostly to the chords, a little bit of arpeggiation here. So you just want to fill in the pauses between those chords with some of those arpeggios. Again, those passing tones between the chords just come from that G major scale. Keep it simple under the verses. And if you're singing, you want to keep it simple anyways, because singing and playing at the same time is its own skill.
All the points I try to make are tossed with thoughts into a bin, and time leaks out, my life leaks in. You won't find moments in a box, and someone else will set your clocks. I took a moment from my day and wrapped it up in things you say.
Here comes that B section, B minor. Up to C. Using that D to E works really nicely on the C chord. This is such a fishy B section. D, going to A minor, C, D, and now we're back to that G progression. So you can dress it up with the stuff we were talking about, arpeggios and inversions. This isn't like a jam section, it's much more of a solo section, so you're really just holding the chord pattern. And looking for spots where sort of the ebb and flow of the energy calls for a fill. That's really all there is to it. It just goes around and around. It's a very classic chord progression. Very similar to like the Pachelbel's canon and D chord progression. Again, that A is a note you can just drop in all over this. You can explore up and down the keyboard, playing it in different octaves. This stuff really isn't very rigid. Park on this sort of octave pattern, which is D, G, A, and D. You can arpeggiate it, and it's super effective on stuff like this. it down. And that's it. Easy enough. A nice gentle G chord to end. Throw the A in there as the ninth. That sounds really good. And that's it. So I hope that was helpful to y'all. If you have any requests, if I got anything wrong, if you just wanted to talk piano, drop me a note sometime. I'd be happy to talk to you. As always, learning piano is wicked hard. I hope you're having fun and success as you figure it out, and I hope I can help you. Maybe you can help me. I don't know. I'm still learning a lot as I go too. If you like what I do, please check out my band, Andrew North and the Rangers. We have a live album coming out in May called Thanks for the Warning, Volume 1. And you can check out the first track from that too on our Bandcamp. There's links below in the description. So again, thank you for your time. You rock, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.